Yo, what's good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. Today I am going to be doing a slightly different type of video. Typically I make 2K videos, whether it be gameplays, reviews of teams, tips and tricks, things like that. Today we're going to be taking it a little bit different, taking a little bit different route and doing a IRL video where I basically rank pretty much all the starting point guards in the NBA on this tier list and let you know what I personally think of them. I watch a lot of basketball. I assume that a lot of y'all watch a lot of basketball as well, considering y'all play 2K. And I thought this would be a cool change to just do a video like this instead of my regular 2K videos. And I was thinking I might throw one of these videos in to the uploads like maybe once a week, something like that. And just wanted to make sure that I would love y'all's input basically to see if this is the type of video that y'all enjoy watching. Obviously, let me know what you thought of the video after you're done with watching. And basically, yeah, just let me know if you enjoy this type of video, if you'd like to see it in the future, because I could do it with other positions like shooting guard, small forward, etc. But the one thing I will say about this list before I get into it, there are a few guys who are missing, a few guys who may not be starters who are on this list, but this was the best list that I personally could find after looking at several different tier lists. Guys like LaMelo Ball, I don't think Kobe White's on here. A couple other guys may be missing. So if those guys are missing, or a guy from your favorite team who you would want ranked on this list, they are missing, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think of those players, where they should be ranked, things like that. But I thought this was a pretty good list, and I think this could be a very interesting video just to let y'all know what I personally think of the various point guards throughout the league. One other thing, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are on that grind to 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers, I apologize. We've gained a lot of subscribers in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, which is really, really cool. I really appreciate the recent support on all the videos. But yeah, if you're seeing this video, you haven't subscribed, make sure you consider hitting that subscribe button if you'd like to support me. So without further ado, let's hop right into it, starting with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, I think, is one of the most polarizing players in the league. What I would say about Ben Simmons is he's potentially the best defender on this list. I mean, there are several other very good defensive players on this list, but Ben Simmons is an absolutely exceptional defender. He gives you the size and athleticism that not very many of other guys on this list do. And obviously the main issue with Ben Simmons is his jump shot. That's really the only issue with his game. He can create, he's a great passer, exceptional finisher, all of those things. But his lack of a jump shot limits him at times, and for that reason, I feel like I have to put him in A tier. I'm tempted to put him in S tier, not GOAT tier, but I'm thinking I would probably start off at least by ranking him in A tier. That may get adjusted at some point, but I think he's played really, really well as of late, and I think he's a really solid player. I just think that he needs to develop at least a semblance of a jump shot that he can rely on a semi-consistent basis before I can really push him into that top tier of point guards. Next point guard on this list is Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe has not had a great year. I don't love his fit with the Pelicans at all. He's been a better player in the past on the Bucks, and I have not been impressed with watching. Admittedly, I haven't watched a ton of the Pelicans this year, but when I watch them, I don't feel like he makes much of a positive impact on the court. I think he's a little bit past his prime as well. I'm going to put him into... We'll give him C tier. I feel like I might move him down to D tier at some point, but we'll leave him in C tier for now. That leads us to Mike Conley. Mike Conley's had a really good year on the Jazz. Borderline all-star numbers. Like, Mike Conley has played really, really well on a Jazz team that I think is really, really good. And I think the Jazz are actually legitimate contenders for the championship. I think a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, but I would say the Jazz can actually contend for a championship this year potentially, and I think Mike Conley's a big part of that. He shot the ball well, he distributes well, he plays his role at a really high level, and he doesn't need to be the star like he did in Memphis. And I'm just really impressed to see how he's bounced back this year, just based on how he played last year. And I think he's improved a lot. I'm not sure. I feel like A tier is... I'm going to go B tier on Mike Conley for now. Although he has had a borderline all-star season, we're going to have to see if he can continue into the second half of the season. And I think also his numbers are slightly inflated, potentially, and his abilities have been slightly inflated by playing next to Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and the other really good role players that the Jazz have and that system. I just think that is probably where he deserves to go right now, is B tier, but potentially A tier. I don't know. It's kind of on that border for me. Chris Paul. S or A. Like, I know Chris Paul is getting older and he's not a great athlete, but He's a great defender. I'm going to go with S tier. He's a great defender. He's a really good shooter. His mid-range jump shot is knocked down. He's an exceptional passer. He doesn't turn the ball over much. Phenomenal leader. Like, I don't know what else there is to say about Chris Paul. He's an exceptional player. He's been playing at a really high level for 15 years in the NBA. And even as he gets older, he's like aging like fine wine. I mean, he's played really, really, really well this year. And the Suns have been good. I'm going to put him in S tier. I think he deserves that spot in S tier as well. D'Angelo Russell. Now, D'Angelo Russell hasn't played much this year. He's been hurt. He was hurt for large portions of last year as well. And I think the big issue with D'Angelo Russell is his lack of defense and also his inconsistency. He's not super efficient. He can be a very good scorer. He can absolutely light it up at times. But I'm going to have to put him in B tier. I don't see him on the same level as a guy like Ben Simmons. And I might even take Mike Conley over him right now. The Timberwolves just aren't that good. And when he plays, I don't feel like he makes a positive impact because he's not a good defensive player. I said the Timberwolves aren't that good. The Timberwolves are bad. But even with him playing, I don't feel like he makes that much of a positive impact. I think he's a good point guard, potentially. I think he's above average. But he's just had a not great year. And I have not been impressed. And I think for that reason, I have to put him in B tier. Darius Garland. If this was last year, he'd be an F tier. I'll say that simply. If last year he was horrible, this year he's been much improved. I will admit I haven't watched the Cavs that much, and I don't really know what his numbers he's been putting up are overall. But I know he's improved a lot this year. I'm not 100% sure about his efficiency numbers, but I would have to put him in C tier just because I'm not 100% sure as to how much he's improved this year. But I have heard from from some Cavs fans and stuff that he's been playing a lot better. Seen a lot of talk on him on Twitter about his improvement. So I'm going to put him in C tier with Eric Bledsoe. Dejante Murray. Dejante Murray plays in the Spurs. They're good. The Spurs are not a bad team at all. They've actually surprised a lot of people this year, but he's not a great defender. I'm sorry, that's not true. He's not a great offensive player. He's an exceptional defender. He's a really, really good defender. One of the better defensive point guards in the league. He doesn't score the ball at a super high level, and he's not an efficient shooter. This is point guard position is a relatively stacked position. I'm wondering, do I put him in C or D tier? I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt for right now. Put him in C tier, but I think there's a good chance I'm gonna wind up moving him down to B tier, to D tier at some point. Davonte Graham. He plays no defense and he's inefficient. That's the issue with Davonte Graham. Can he score the ball at a high level? Yes. Does he provide much else on the court? Not really, and I don't think he's very efficient. I don't love Davonte Graham. I'm very low on him. I'm gonna put him in D tier, and I'm gonna put Dejante Murray down in D tier as well. I think that's where he deserves to go. He might be C tier. I just don't like Davonte Graham. I know a lot of people. This one might piss off some Hornets fans, and I understand that. He has games where he's a very, very high level player, but he also has games where he'll go 1 of 9 from 3-point range, just keep bombing and not play well, be super inefficient. And for that reason, I'm going to put him in D tier. Derrick Rose. He got traded to the Knicks recently. He's been playing well. I don't feel like he gives you the star power that you need at the point guard position anymore. Obviously, MVP D Rose was a great time of basketball, and I look back on that fondly because that's when I started watching basketball. At this point in his career, I think he's probably an upper C tier player. He's a great leader. He's a good overall player. But I would have to put him in C tier. I don't think he does a ton to actually truly benefit. I don't know. He doesn't hurt your team, and I think he's a valuable role player to have, but I don't think he's that final piece to push you over to the next level either. Alfred Payton. I don't know how much there is to say about Alfred Payton. I'm going to put him in F tier. I'm sorry, Alfred. I know he has good games occasionally. He can rebound the ball well for a point guard. Occasionally he scores well, but he's not efficient. Not a great defender. Knicks fans don't like him. I don't watch a ton of Knicks games, but when I do, he never seems to make a positive impact. I don't know. I think F tier is probably where Alfred Payton deserves to go, and I'm sorry, Alfred Payton and your fans. Yeah, that's just my opinion. Darren Fox. I'm tempted to put him A tier, but since I put Mike Conley B tier, I'm going to put him B tier for now. There's a lot of good point guards left on this list. For the time being, I'm going to put him in B tier. I'm tempted to put him A tier. De'Aaron Fox is a really, really good player. He's become a better three-point shooter. He's a great athlete. He plays relatively good defense, and he plays with his fire. He's just fun to watch. I enjoy watching De'Aaron Fox play basketball a lot. I don't know. I'm tempted to put him in A tier, man. We'll see. I might come back to him and put him in A tier, but I'm going to put him in B tier right now. The Kings have been struggling, but I don't really feel like it's De'Aaron Fox's fault that much. I think he's a good overall player, and yeah, we're going to leave him in B tier for now. Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic is one of those guys who I'm torn on because I know in the playoffs he can be a he's a very important piece. Like we saw last year with the Heat, he played really, really well in the playoffs before he got hurt before the finals, which I was very unfortunate for him. That being said, I don't feel like he is exceptional at this point in his career. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I know he's a great playoff performer and he has big games, and when he has the ball in his hands, he's a very positive influence on his team. We're going to put him in B tier. I'm not sure how much better he is than Derrick Rose, Eric Bledsoe, guys like that, but we will give him B tier just because of the playoff success that he's had and his ability to play in clutch moments. Then you get Jamal Murray. And my question is Jamal Murray a better point guard than like Darren Fox, Mike Conley? Like that, I'm sorry. Did I say Jamal Murray? Was it Jamal Murray? I don't even know. Whatever. John Morant. John Morant is, I'm biased. I love John Morant. Go in A tier. I think he has a ton of potential. He has not played quite as well since he came back from injury, but I just think he's going to be a superstar. Am I putting him too highly, putting him over Darren Fox? These guys potentially. This hurts me. I gotta put no, not S tier. Chill. I'm gonna put Darren Fox in A tier as well for the time being. No, I'm not. Yeah, we're gonna leave Jabba for in A tier for now. He's a great scorer, super explosive, not a particularly great defender. I think he's kind of a better D'Angelo Russell, and the Grizzlies are a better team than the Timberwolves as well. So I'll put him in A tier for now. Jamal Murray, same thing as John Morant. Really good scorer. When he's on, he's almost unstoppable. He's a good athlete, not as good as Ja, but he's also a good athlete. He has tendencies. He can play really, really well in Denver at times and play really poorly at other times. It really depends on the day for him. I'm going to go A tier for Jamal Murray because he's played really well recently, and I feel like if he can harness that good play that he's had recently, and also the play like that he had in the postseason last year when he was absolutely exceptional in the bubble, I think he deserves that spot as an A tier point guard. John Wall, he's played well for the Rockets, but the Rockets are bad, and he's still not an efficient player. Not a great defender at this point in his career. I'm going to put him in B tier. I think he's probably the third best point guard in B tier, but I'm going to have to put him in B tier just because I don't think he really impacts winning at this point in his career. He's still a good point guard, and it is unfortunate to see him on a bad team like Houston, but I think B tier is where he deserves to go. And looking at this list, we still have a lot of good point guards left, so we've got to leave some spots up early or up higher on this list. So next player on this list is Kemba Walker. He struggled recently. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because he's a past all-star. He's played really, really good at points in his career. I can't put him higher than B tier. I just can't. He's not efficient anymore. He doesn't play, I feel like, at the high level that he used to play at. I'm hoping he can figure it out. If he can't, I feel like Boston may need to look to trade him at some point. But for the time being, I'm going to have to put him in B tier. Kyrie, S tier. He's our second S tier point guard. I don't think he's quite good enough to be considered a GOAT tier, but it's very close. If you wanted to make the argument that Kyrie's in a GOAT tier, obviously, I would not mind you doing that. I think the Nets are definitely championship contenders, and a lot of that can be contributed to Kyrie. He's efficient. He scores the ball at a really high level. He can distribute. He's exciting to watch. Kyrie's one of the better point guards in our league, one of the best point guards in the league. I think he's a really, really good overall player, and I wouldn't mind you trying to put him in GOAT tier, but I personally would put him in S. LeBron, this is the easiest name on this list. It's GOAT tier, it's LeBron. I mean, come on, he's the best player in the NBA. If you think otherwise, not really sure what to tell you because, he just won the championship. He's earned all the success that's come to him. He's an MVP candidate. The Lakers have struggled as of late, but they've played well their last couple games. LeBron's played well. He's been efficient. He's developed a three-point shot. Even though he hasn't been shooting the ball that well as of late, over the last couple years, he's turned into a really good three-point shooter. His post game has developed significantly. I mean, a LeBron post fadeaway is pretty much a layup at this point. Like, his post game is very, very impressive. And I know some people may take issue to putting LeBron on a point guard list. LeBron's the main point guard for the Lakers. I mean, I don't think we're considering Alex Caruso or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I mean, Caruso's obviously a point guard, but like they don't really have that true point guard. LeBron is their main ball handler and playmaker. And you could also say Dennis Schroeder, but he's not on this list. I don't take issue with LeBron being listed as a point guard. If you wanted to put Dennis Schroeder on this list, he'd probably be in C or D tier. Probably C tier. But Yeah, I'm going to have to put LeBron in GOAT. I mean, he deserves it. And looking at this list, I'm going to move Darius Garland down to D tier. He hasn't just proven enough to me yet, so we're going to leave him in D tier. Then we got Damien Lillard. This is tough. I'm going to put him in GOAT tier. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's super clutch. He killed my Mavericks recently. He scores at a really high level. He's become a better defender. Still not a particularly good defender, but he tries on the defensive end when he wants to. He's incredibly clutch, incredibly great scorer. One of the best players in our league today. He's a top 10 player in the league, borderline MVP candidate. Totally deserving of his all-star spot. People argued he could have been a starter over Luka, and as a Mavericks fan, I disagree, but he's played at a really, really high level, and he's a great player. I think he's a GOAT-tier point guard. Lonzo. I am higher on Lonzo than the average NBA fan, I think. And I know B tier is really large, but he doesn't score. I'm going to have to put him in C tier. I want to put Lonzo in B tier. I personally would probably have... I think I have to put Lonzo in C tier. He doesn't give you enough on an offensive end on a consistent basis to be in the same category as a guy like Darren Fox, I don't think, or Mike Conley. And like we can see, the point guard position is really deep. Like, being a C tier point guard does not mean you're a bad player. Some of these are some solid players, but just the starting point guards in this league, there's a lot of really good starting point guards, and I think Lonzo, I can't really argue that he deserves to be in the same tier as most of these guys. He's an improved player. I'm really high on Lonzo. I still think he has a lot of potential. I am excited to see how Lonzo's career continues to progress, and I enjoy watching him. I think he's a better player than Eric Bledsoe. I would definitely have him higher in C tier than Bledsoe, but I don't think he does enough to be higher in C tier as of right now, even though he's a great defensive player. Kyle Lowry. I'm going to put Kyle Lowry in A tier because of just the intangibles. Kyle Lowry is a phenomenal leader. He scores the ball at a high level. He's a great passer. He's relatively efficient. He plays good defense. He rebounds the ball well for a short player. He's a leader. He's just a really good all-around player. I think he deserves his spot at A tier. I mean, we've seen what he can do in leading the Raptors to a championship, playoff success. The Raptors have been improved as of late, and I know there are rumors going around that Kyle Lowry may be traded to a team like the 76ers or a team like that. And I think if the 76ers were to manage to trade for Lowry without giving up Simmons and Embiid, which I assume they wouldn't include Simmons or Embiid in the Lowry trade, that would make them, in my mind, the favorites in the East, because I worry about the Nets on defense specifically. So I think that Kyle Lowry to the 76ers would actually be really dangerous and really interesting to watch. But I like Kyle Lowry a lot as a player. I think he does a very good job in multiple facets of the game, and for that reason, I have him as an A tier point guard. Next player on this list, Luka, GOAT tier. I'm a Mavericks fan. I'd be lying to myself if I didn't think Luka was a GOAT tier, but I'm going to try to justify it without my Mavericks bias. Luka has size at the point guard position. He's one of the best finishers in the league at the point guard position due to his size and his craftiness around the rim. He's been shooting the ball at a much higher level recently. He's one of the, I would say, top 3 passer in the league. He rebounds the ball at a very high level. He's improved as a defender significantly. I watch almost every Mavericks game. Luka's so much better as a defender than he used to be. He's crafty on the defensive end. He gets steals. He plays better defense and moves his feet better and is more in shape and more conditioned than he used to be. I think Luka's just a really, really high-level player. He's playing himself into the MVP conversation as of late, and the Mavericks have played a lot better as of late as well. So for that reason, I would have Luka in GOAT tier. I think he deserves a spot. I personally have Luka over Damien Lillard. If you think otherwise, that is entirely your opinion, but that's just my opinion. I think Luka's a top 5 player in the league, and I know that's my bias again as a Mavericks fan, but I think Luka's a phenomenal player and totally deserves this spot. Malcolm Brogdon. At the beginning of the year, Malcolm Brogdon was playing like an A tier, like an S tier point guard, low-key, but I'd say an A tier point guard. As of late, he hasn't been quite as good. I still like Malcolm Brogdon a lot. I'm torn. I'm tempted to put him in A tier. And I feel like there are a lot of B tier point guards, but I'm going to have to put him in B tier as of right now because I don't feel like he's quite on the level as these guys. I guess John Morant. Maybe John's a little high. I don't know. This is tough because we have a lot of these mid-tier point guards. A couple of these guys in A, B, even C. Like, there's a lot of these guys who can be very interchangeable. I feel like Darren Fox could be up easily. I'm tempted to move D'Angelo Russell down just because of his lack of defense, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have to move Goran Dragic down just because of his lack of health recently, and there's so many point guards in B tier. I think he's the weak link in A tier or in B tier as of right now. And I think Brogdon has been playing better than this year and deserves that spot in B tier more. Then we get to Markelle Fultz. Oh, let me just talk about Brogdon real quick. Brogdon is one of the most underrated players in the league. He handles the ball effectively. He can pass. He can score. He's a phenomenal shooter. 50, 40, 90 club member multiple times, if my memory serves me correct. He's efficient. He scores well. He plays relatively good defense. I think he's just one of the more underrated players in the league. The Pacers as a whole are one of the more underrated teams in the league, especially as they continue to get healthy once they get TJ Warren, potentially Karis LeVert back by the playoffs. I think the Pacers could be a threat, and I'm very excited to watch them develop as the season goes along. But yeah, I like Malcolm Brogdon a lot. Next player on this list, we got Markelle. He was starting to really come into his own before his knee injury. I was really disappointed to see him tear his ACL. I'm going to put him in C tier. I think he's on a similar level as a guy like Lonzo. They're both in the same draft class. Both have been, by some people, labeled as busts. I would personally disagree with that. I think Markelle's a good defender. His jump shot was improving. He's a great athlete. He was really coming into his own in Orlando and becoming a really nice point guard, and it was really unfortunate to see him go down with that knee injury, and I'm hoping he can get back to that high level once he gets healthy again and continue to improve as a player. But I have to put him in C tier. Patrick Beverly, I got to put him in D tier. He plays defense. He'll hit an open three-pointer. He's annoying. I mean, I think being annoying is an asset for Patrick Beverly, like it's intentional. I'm going to put him in D tier because I don't think he's on the level of like an Alfred Payton type of guy. I don't think he's great. He doesn't deserve a spot much higher than that. He plays really good defense. He plays hard. He'll knock down an open three occasionally. And he'll give you just some decent minutes, but he's nothing special. Ricky Rubio, he's had a rough year. I'm tempted to put Ricky Rubio on F. I'm going to do it. The Timberwolves have struggled. When D'Angelo Russell's out, Rubio's been starting at point guard. He's not played well. He's not been efficient. He doesn't score the ball at a really very good level. He's never been a great three-point shooter. He's not a great defender. He's not super athletic. I don't feel like Ricky Rubio gives you much in the court anymore besides his passing. And while he's a good passer, I don't think he positively impacts the game enough in a system that's not catered to him. Because in Phoenix, he played well. In Phoenix, I think he would be a D or even a C tier point guard. But in a system that's not like Phoenix, where that caters to his abilities as a passer, because the Timberwolves rely on him more to do more, and he just can't really. I don't feel like he can handle that role at a very high level. At this point in his career, I have to put him in F tier, unfortunately. Same for Tomas Satoransky. I don't honestly know why he's on this list over Kobe White. He hasn't started a game this year for the Bulls. I don't believe he may have. And like Sato, there were a couple years there with the Bulls I was really wondering if he's going to turn into a good average NBA point guard, because he does a good job of like doing multiple things on the court. He'll rebound well for a point guard. He's a decent passer. He can shoot a little bit, but he doesn't start. He doesn't play a ton of minutes. I don't feel like he's really impacting the game that positively. He's just kind of there. And I feel like compared to most of these guys, if you're just there, that's not enough. So I feel like I got to put him in F tier. Steph, he's GOAT tier, top point guard in the league. The best point guard in the league if you don't consider LeBron a point guard. He's like the third best player in the league in my opinion right now. I think Steph, I would go LeBron, KD, Steph in that order right now as the top 3 players in the league. Steph is an absolute animal. He's been playing at a really high level. He has bad nights, but then he'll also have crazy nights where he'll drop 40, 50 points on ridiculous efficiency, knocking down crazy shots. And he's made the Warriors a threat even without Klay Thompson. I don't know what else there is to say about Steph. Y'all all know how good he is. Yeah. Then you got Trae Young. Trae Young is an upper A tier player. He's on the level of a Ben Simmons type of guy, borderline all-star. He hasn't played amazing this year. He's had some really good games. He's had some off games. And that's kind of to be expected based on that play style that he has. He's super crafty, amazing shooter, great passer, and he's super fun to watch. The issue with Trae Young is not his offense in any way, shape, or form. It's that he's one of the worst defenders in the league and has been his entire career. He tries on defense, but he's just not athletic enough, big enough, strong enough, capable enough on the defensive end to really positively impact the team on that side in any way, really. And I think that's a big enough issue that I can't put him into the S tier point guards or even over a guy like Ben Simmons, personally, in my opinion. Final point guard on this list, we have Russell Westbrook. I'm going to put him in A tier as well. Russ shows flashes of that 2016 Russ who triple-double machine, could do it relatively efficiently, but he's just not efficient enough as a shooter. his three-point shot never truly developed to the point that it would need to be at to be a top-tier point guard. He's been a top-tier point guard. That's not what I'm saying is that he hasn't been, but at this point in his career, he's lost a little bit of his athleticism. He's not a great defender. He has really inefficient games where he just takes a ton of bad shots and plays very poorly. The Wizards are improving. For sure, they have improved recently, and I think Westbrook has been a big part of that, and I enjoy watching Westbrook play. I love Westbrook. He plays really hard. I've always liked Westbrook. I just don't think he quite deserves to be an S-tier point guard anymore either. I think it's really close. If you want to make the argument he's an S tier, that wouldn't bother me. He's toward the upper end of A tier. But for me personally, I don't feel like I can put Russell Westbrook in S tier anymore because I don't feel like he impacts the game enough positively on the offensive or defensive end to be an S tier. And that's just my opinion. So, yeah, this is my list. I think there are probably people on this list that y'all think that I ranked too high, too low. I'm sure fans of certain teams will be disappointed that I ranked their point guard too low, or happy because I ranked their point guard very highly. So y'all let me know in the comment section down below what y'all thought of this video, of my rankings, and if you agree or disagree with things that I said. And if you disagree, let me know why. Let me know which players I ranked too low. I would be happy to discuss it in the comment section, and I want to hear what y'all think as fans of those teams and people who watch those teams a lot. So, yeah, feel free to let me know what you think, and also let me know what you thought of this video in general. And if you would like me to do more of these videos in the future, because obviously, if you would, I would be absolutely happy to do this for the shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center, even just all the top players in the league. I would be more than happy to do a video like that, and I think that would be really fun to continue doing these IRL basketball videos and talking about IRL NBA, not just about 2K, because I think these are fun to do, and I love watching basketball. I know a lot of y'all do as well. So I appreciate everybody who came through and watched this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like the video, leave me a sub on the channel if you haven't, and yeah, I'll be back with another video tomorrow. I appreciate y'all. Peace.